Islamic State brides in Syrian refugee camps have vowed to take vengeance as the terror group's last remaining holdout faces collapse. It follows fears of thousands of brainwashed followers in the camps, with one veiled woman warning, "We will seek vengeance, there will be blood up to your knees. We have left, but there will be new conquests in the future." The woman is feared to be among thousands of fanatics who have surrendered to US-backed Kurdish forces. Many of the women leaving the outpost told AFP they wanted to raise their children in line with his ideology. Mail Online reported, "The caliphate will not end, because it has been ingrained in the hearts and brains of the newborns and the little ones," a 60-year-old woman said. Other civilians reportedly threw rocks at the cameras, with one screaming at a photographer and calling him pig. A bearded man with a leg wound said, "I'd only surrendered because of my injury. I have been with us since the beginning." The chilling threats come as two more brides are believed to have been stripped of their UK citizenship while being held in Syrian detention camps with their young children. Shamima Begum was left in a detention camp in Syria where her baby died, the third of the 19-year-old's children to die since she traveled to Syria. In 2015, Rima Iqbal, 30, along with her sister Zara, 28, are mothers of 5 children between them and are currently living in a refugee camp. Legal sources say the two sisters have had their UK citizenships revoked after marrying into a terror cell linked to the execution of Western hostages. The decision to remove their UK nationality has sparked new fears regarding the fate of the children of Islamic State brides. US-backed Syrian forces have launched an assault against the finalist enclave in eastern Syria, aiming to wipe out the last vestige of its self-declared caliphate that once spanned a third of Iraq and Syria. The Baghouz enclave represents the last shred of populated land held by the jihadists, but the group is still widely seen as a big security threat operating in remote territory elsewhere and able to launch guerrilla attacks. The US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces has been poised to advance into the enclave for weeks, but has repeatedly held back to allow for the evacuation of civilians, many of them wives and children of his fighters. A former IS fighter who surrendered to the SDF 2 months ago told Reuters in an interview on Saturday that the group had sent hundreds of men out of its diminishing territory to establish sleeper cells. The SDF, spearheaded by the Kurdish YPG militia, has been the main US partner in Syria and has steadily driven the group down the eastern bank of the Euphrates River, forcing its fighters and followers to fall back to Baghouz. Earlier on Sunday, a Reuters journalist in SDF-held ground observed that fighters moving around in the part of Baghouz still under their control. SDF fighters advanced into a makeshift tented settlement abandoned by the group, finding a number of rifles and ammunition left behind. The International Rescue Committee said as many as 12,000 people from Baghouz have arrived in one camp for non-combatants in northeast Syria over the past 48 hours. The IRC and other agencies are doing all they can to help the new arrivals, but Al-Khol camp is now at breaking point, the organization said, with wires